All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. I realize that nobody's going to be here, but you still got to talk right away. So, welcome to the end of 2020 for anybody who watches this in the archives. Fucking 2020 is almost over. I just finished recording my final review for 2020 with Corey Shoemaker. We just finished our Agent Carter Season 2 premiere, the first two episodes reviewed on the channel live, ended at about 9:30. And here we are talking countdown to 2021. And so basically, I am a talking head with nobody to talk to until people get here. I'm actually going to go check out and see if the video is even up on the channel. I'm actually afraid to do this because I'm worried that I'll lose the connection to the stream. But, oh, look, it is on. Let's see if I can go to manage videos and actually change the thumbnail while I'm recording. Let's bounce back. Yeah, okay, I'm still here. All right. So let's see if in the studio, while I'm recording, can I actually change my thumbnail? While I'm recording or while I'm live. Let's see. So far, it's telling me I can. Because I have a feeling I'm so bad at this. I am so freaking bad at the tech on YouTube for setting up live streams. I am so bad at it. I don't understand it at all. All right, so we've got it saved. Let's turn on. Let's get this sucker on. This is what happens when you're working by yourself. Okay, that's figured out. I did change the thumbnail. Why do I have to change it again? This is one of the most exciting 2021 countdowns you will ever see. Somebody trying to figure out how to somebody trying to figure out how to put the thumbnail in. And hopefully it sticks. Oh, it doesn't want to. Oh, hey, Desiree's here. And Deborah's here. Hey, Desiree, it's really good to see you. I am currently sitting here trying, okay, that's all figured out. That's all figured out. Playlist, no. Show more. La. Make sure it's under entertainment. There we go. Yes, it is. Enable live chat. Enable to replay. I'm gonna turn off the hold potentially inappropriate comments. I'm gonna allow all comments. And then my moderators. I don't know if you can mod on here. I can probably kick you off. All right. I did send links to Dee and Gino. I don't know if Gino will be here or not. He said he was going to sleep up until he's got to go to work at 3. So he was going to try to sleep and then get up and join the chat. You wish you could get shit-faced, but work tomorrow. Should I just show up hungover? Let me tell you something. I've shown up to work hungover way more times than I'd like to admit. It just depends on how well you can you still do the job hungover without it being a problem. As I take pulls on my Casey's root beer, like a real gentleman, straight from the 2-liter. So this is our opportunity, really. I'm glad you guys are here. Somebody's here to talk to. How much do you need the job? It's kind of like, I don't know if we'll ever be done talking about 2020. This is kind of our chance to basically complain about it one last time before we get into the actual. Hang on. All right. Save. I have to save something apparently. Okay, that's up. That's up. Let's see what happens if we refresh that. Will it change the thumbnail? Yes, and we're definitely we're sending 2020 to the bad place. 2 people here. Okay. You're drinking A&W. Oh. Excellent. So I think I speak for the 3 of us here, at least I think I can speak for the 3 of us here, that for the most part, 2020 started out pretty bad and just never really let go. I know, Desiree, you've had a particularly hard year right from the jump. I know my year got bad as soon as I got back from during C2E2 in February that I could feel it shifting, even though it felt like I was doing something important for myself, going to that thing and experiencing everything I experienced. At the same time, I was like also the end. Like it was the end of happy and the beginning of COVID. And Deborah, you've gone through your own stuff out there in California. California, man, is really getting just like they did the math about how many deaths are here in Illinois, but it is nothing like what's going on in California. I honestly am kind of shocked about it, but it just continues to be a thing. And I was thinking about all the different things we've covered. Well, you had your bus accident, dog attacked right from the get-go. Yep, I remember it. I remember basically right at the year mark practically. But I was thinking about like everything that we've done this year. Now, I this is not technically the last video. The Agent Carter one is the last review of the channel for 2020. It'll pop up sometime tomorrow, just like along with this. This will pop up sometime. El Paso had it hard too, yeah. Raina's here. I sent Bill a whisper. I sent Gino. Oh, look. Gino. Holy crap, Gino's here.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Oh my goodness. I'm like 2020, I won't go away.
What? Barely been around.
What's going on, man? Yeah, I meant to be here on time. Meant to.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, today's day of sleep has been weird, so I'm not surprised that I'm late.
Did you get some sleep at least?
Oh, a little bit. Whenever I was supposed to be up and doing things, that's when I was sleeping. But no, I'm doing all right. Like I said, I meant to be here on time, but oh well.
Well, we got some people here. We got Devra, we got Desiree, we got Raina. Bill's probably gonna show up here, and I sent a link out to Darren Jake's as well, to if he felt like popping in to say hi or whatever.
Oh, there's the comments. Okay, I got to remember
Yeah.
how to use StreamYard. I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, I actually set up like a bunch of different streams trying to get one that worked good. But I figured out how to like change the thumbnail and everything while I started the stream. I was like, just there's nobody here, so I'm like fiddling around with the technical aspects of it. But oh man, it's good that you're here. I'm glad to see you. Glad to talk with you live and in person, and for everybody else to get to see it too, because they always see me.
Yeah.
Can't get away from me.
Well, it's been a while. I've been away a while, and it's hard to explain why, but this year.
Yeah.
So.
Believe me, I've got lots of explaining to do to other people. Like, on here we pretty much everybody knows just about everything that's going on with me in the last, the hardcore group that you see here is pretty much no secrets between any of us. But there's still like some stuff like that I didn't deal with, like outside of YouTube, outside of my house, and like my professional stuff, where I'm just like I haven't explained a lot of things. Like, you're just getting to that, you get to that working with people, working with the public all year long during this thing, and part of me is just shut down. Part of me shut down like about a month or two ago, where I was out. Like I checked out from the rest of the world, at the larger world. Like I barely talked to anybody. I've barely talked to anybody that wasn't on YouTube, or in forced social situations where I've just been clammed up. There's like the guy that I work with, the poor guy I work with. I don't think I've barely said a word to him in like a month and a half. I mean, there's not a lot that we have to say to each other, but I'm just like, where you get into that mood, and you're like a plane in a dive, and you can't pull out. Like you're pulling back on the stick, and you're not making any forward progress up. Like that's how I feel. Like the end of 2020 has been, where it is literally I'm going down, and there's no pulling the stick back hard enough. I'm gonna hit the ground at some point. I might not die, but it's gonna be a memorable crash.
Yeah, it's just been one of the years, man. I used to work at a grocery store before the job I'm at now for about 3 years, and I can imagine how it is now. But then again, I can't imagine how it is now, having to deal with the public now. And really, I always used to say a lot of the public were great. It was like 90% of the people you would deal with were cool, and then 10% ruined it for everybody. But I can't imagine how it is now. In some ways I can, but then it's like I'm sure it's worse, than I can even imagine, being that I've been out of it for, well, it's almost been 20 years now. So I can imagine it's bad. I don't know if I could deal with it anymore. But yeah, I mean, I have to deal with enough stuff working in news during this. I mean, I have to hear the word, the C word every day, and is it over? And then plus you tack on all the government stuff. You tack on, like elections. That was fun. Let me just say, fun. Just all of that. Just anything that could be, this is why life sucks right now. Yeah. I have to listen to for hours a day, every day, and I don't work with the public much anymore, but in my own way, I have to deal with my 2020. Yeah. So in ways I get it. In some ways, man, I'm glad I couldn't do retail anymore. Just couldn't. I don't think I would have lasted. I don't know. It's hard to know.
Yeah. that pattern that I have, I gotta stop that. But it's so hard to just get. I think it's because it's that that 2020 is almost over, because that Trump is almost over, and you're just trying to wait out, and they're talking about the vaccines and stimulus checks, and it's almost tax time, and it's just like I'm trying to like just push through.
Yeah.
But I made it all the way to like the end of November before I finally crapped out. Where I just
Yeah, I think elections really pushed everyone or most people over the edge if they were teetering. Because just that time, I mean, because of course, technically still, yes, it's over, but is it?
no, yeah.
And even when it's over, later next month, it's still not over. There's still, I mean, when the government's talking, you got the human turtle McConnell, saying, well, $2,000 isn't going to happen. Oh, but it could happen if we look at election fraud. Yeah, it could happen. He's saying it could, it can't happen unless you do this for us.
It's like blackmail.
And of course, it's election fraud is the thing, which of course, you know what? I mean, being that the only things they found that were somewhat fraudulent were on Trump's side, and, you've got him, pardoning everybody and their dad, literally. Yeah. It's this whole, it just keeps getting weirder and worse. And yeah, we, being in our time zone, we've got about an hour and a half left of the year. And I hate to say it, but 2021 is supposed to be a new start. It's not. It's still, it's 2020 in overtime for a while, well, I think.
All it is we stop the clock, right? We go, okay, and boom, okay, that's it. There is no more bad stuff that can happen in 2020. It literally can't happen in the natural universe. It can't spill over. So as soon as somebody hits the stop, there's another person hitting go. And now it's anything that happens from here on out just starts to stack up what 2021 is going to look like. And right now, what's different? What will be different when the clock strikes midnight for us here in Illinois? Nothing. Nothing changes. If January 1st meant a new president, then even then we'd have to wait till morning for everybody to get up and do the thing. So you're talking like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on New Year's Day, if that's how they did it. But it's not. We're still waking up to that orange-faced little person. Wow, I can't believe I held off on that. And melty face McConnell and Barr and everybody else is still going to be there until the 20th. So, I mean, it's like I understand why people are just saying Jumanji instead of Happy New Year's. Because, it's all a joke. It's a joke. This is like when I was a kid and I thought there was that show 2020 on television, the news show. Mm. And I was obsessed at a young age with what would 2020 look like. 2020 in my head became this magical year. It was going to be this 2020. I had it built up. I literally have been building up 2020 in my head since I was a child. I don't know why. I just became obsessed with the number. And because the show I think went on until the 90s.
Yeah.
And then you get here and the reality of it. We've been saying that each year has been worse than the last for about, that's just so happens to be like 2016, I think, is when every year has successfully been worse than the last year. Does that mean it was like the transfer of power between Obama and Trump? Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. But I mean, every year has got bad and good, but this one just literally, I don't know how. Like, if we should be more worried about what 2021 will do to top this as far as bad goes, because people say it only gets better from here or worse from here, and I don't know. I honestly don't see the silver lining in anything until Corona's dealt with, Trump is all the way gone, and we start getting, ourselves back on track economically. Get everybody back to work, if it, I don't know how anybody else feels about this, but I mean, like, we never should have came out of lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know it's tough, and me and you both, our jobs didn't stop. We work in two professions that, you have to be there to help people. My job, if there were a way I could do it from home, they would have let me. But since I have to be in front of things to do my job, they have us still come in. They gave us letters saying, if you get stopped by cops during lockdown, show them your papers, and it's I almost felt like I'm a prisoner in my own town that in certain ways.
Yeah.
And so I was, we kept working, and I feel for everyone that couldn't. I mean, I watched many businesses shut down around, where I live, and it's hard to imagine that. But if we had a government that were helping us the way they should be, it wouldn't have been a problem. At least it wouldn't have been as bad of a problem. But of course, whenever they go, well, here's what was it, $1,200? Yeah, make it last for about a year. Yeah, good luck with that. As they go home to their, their mansions, and
we pay for all their meals. We pay
Yeah.
for everything that Mitch McConnell does, and he just will not. He just is like, fuck all you people. Fuck him.
Well, what's funny is the only reason he doesn't let that go to a vote, which I haven't. I've been out of it, so I don't know if they're. I'm sure he denied another vote. That if I haven't even looked, but if there were a vote, it would pass right now. It maybe by a small margin, but it would pass, and that's the only reason he doesn't let it go to a vote. So
he's got too much power. There's way too much power here.
Yeah.
And I don't care what side you're on. I mean, I can't believe that we're all having to be on the same side as Trump on this one.
Well, okay.
He could, but just because he's agreeing to $2,000, I don't care about what his actual reasons are behind it. But
well, he wants government to, to play pretend like he won and investigate why he won, or why he isn't coming back, because he can't let it go because he's a sore loser. I will say, if one good thing came out of him, trying to overturn the election, is I enjoyed watching him lose over and over and over again. And I really do hope that whenever the time comes for him to to be taken out of office, he doesn't go quietly. I really don't want him to go quietly, because I want to see him dragged out of there kicking and screaming. Look, I don't talk about politics much on YouTube, but man, that dude's just irked me way too many times. I mean, I never liked the guy anyway, but then he's done some things I really didn't like a long time ago. And it's just like, yeah, you're never going to get support from me. But the only reason he's saying $2,000 now, give him $2,000 now, it's because he wants to somewhat be remembered as doing something positive as president.
Yeah.
So people will be like, he gave us $2,000 before he went in office. What a nice orange man.
Yeah, in case he wants to run again too.
Look, I don't care how much he gives me. I'm never going to thank him.
Oh yeah.
You know,
No.
there's not many people in government I like on either side.
Yeah.
I mean, I
No,
do
I know.
appreciate the ones that do really just. I mean, Bernie just keeps saying, "Help the American people, help the American people," and I love that guy. You know, I'm sure he's done some things I don't like too, but at least he's out there trying. You know, and he won't stop until. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised he hasn't keeled over. You know, just because the man seems like he won't quit, and that's why I appreciate him. And you know, uh, so I appreciate guys like him, even though I'm sure again he's got skeletons too. They all do, but a lot of them, I'm just like, you know, I don't care how much you give me. You should have been taking care of us for months and months and months now.
Yeah.
You know,
In
it's
years.
you should have been taking care of everybody. I can't stand seeing the comparisons of you'll see them on Twitter all the time. It's like here's these different countries and here's what their government's giving them monthly to survive this, to stay at home, you know, to make this better. And you know, America's like, you know, $1,200 or whatever, and you know, Canada's getting like 2,000 a month, you know. So I don't know. It's yeah. I don't know. The government's
Remind me to ask Corey Shoemaker if there's the girl that I've been working with, Raging Carter. Find out if there's any nice places to live in Canada, because I'll take 2,000 a month.
There's a few Canadians who are like, no, you can't come up here. No offense, but you know, it's like that the scene in I can't remember if it was the first or second South Park game where you go to the border and you try to get in, and they're like, you can't come in, eh?
Yeah.
Like it was supposed to be DLC later,
right.
Or they just didn't want us Americans up there.
Yeah. So yeah, we've all been kind of reminiscing over all the dumb things like in 2020. I mean, I can't believe I jumped out of a plane and that feels like a million years ago.
Yeah. Because that was what? July, August?
End of July. And I to me it feels like a year ago already that happened. Like it just got lost in the shuffle. And I mean, I make the joke of like, why did I really jump out of that plane?
Yeah.
But why did I look so calm that as I fell with that weird creepy smile on my face out there? I'm free. Oh, the chute opened. Oh well. But because that just feels like 2020. Of course I went skydiving in 2020. Because what the hell else? Like, yeah. Everything that has happened. I mean, it has been a roller coaster for everyone. I don't know any single person that hasn't been hugely impacted in some form or another about something this year. I mean, I haven't been myself affected outright by any COVID deaths. I mean, my grandmother in Arizona has it, or did have it. As far as I know, she's fine. But you know, it's impacted us, everybody else, in other ways, and it's hard to like try to pick the good out of this. Like, I here's one thing I'll ask. It's more of a positive thing. Is you did not put up a review for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I've been dealing with things. I haven't put up a review for a lot of things. We can talk about Wonder Woman if you want.
Yeah,
I have not seen anybody's review.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't watch reviews until I put up my own.
Yeah.
You know, I'll put up my own. Then it's like, okay, my opinions are out there. Now I can see what other people thought. Okay, I did my video on HBO being like the hero of Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Boy, if that's the way they're starting their little 2021 marketing ploy, I don't know if that's a very good start. Wonder Woman, oh boy, I did not hardly like it at all.
Wow. Okay. No,
Now
see,
there were
no,
look,
Stuckman didn't like it either.
there were things I liked. Don't get me wrong. I thought the acting was really good. I thought internally there were some things that could have worked really well. The whole thing about dealing with loss, and hey, there's probably gonna be some spoilers here, everybody. It's been out since Christmas. So look, it was when you have an overall plot. See, the overall plot is what ruined it for me. Look, especially like I like the acting, especially I thought I like Kristen Wiig, and I knew she could do a good job. Honestly, she was my favorite part of the movie.
Wow.
Even though don't get me wrong, I don't like the very end arc with her, but I thought she did a good job. Whenever she started going to the dark side, per se, I thought that worked really well. When you start figuring, because the whole time you're like, well, what did she give up? What did she give up? So because you got to remember, her and Wonder Woman made the same wish, or made the wish before the bad guy got became the wishing stone or whatever it was called. And so I liked her. I thought the acting was good, and I did, like I said, I liked the stuff about loss and everything else. But when you have a movie about wishes, the whole time Pedro Pascal's character could have go looked at one of his henchmen while he's being chased and go, "Hey, don't you really wish that she would stop chasing us right now?" And that would have ended it, right? It would have ended it. Any movie that has like something that simple would have been over with quickly. Oh, she's attacking me? Hey, one of my people say, don't you wish Diana would like just die? Over. Okay. Any bad guy would have thought that. Okay. And then okay, why did and here's another thing that really bothered me. Why did we have to have the whole quantum leap thing with Chris Pine's character? Why didn't he just come back just so she could have that scene with him at the end, the guy that he took over at the end, right? Oh, and he just happened to be a suave looking dude that, who knows, maybe she'll be into him later, right? And don't get me started, they kind of violated that guy's life in more ways than one.
Yeah, right.
What happened? Oh, that guy still has a life when his life's been taken over, and he doesn't know where he's been for however many days this movie took place. What, 2-3 days, maybe? The whole thing with Maxwell Lord at the end. So we're just forgiving all our bad guys now. He almost annihilated the Earth, and he just gets to go home to his son.
I felt like that was something that I even mentioned. I mentioned that in my review. I was like, I guess punishment happens off screen.
And see, and I hate that because yes, they did fast track another one. Okay, I get it. They fast tracked Wonder Woman 3. And look, I loved Wonder Woman, except for the final fight, the CGI heavy final fight. I really loved the first movie. So I was excited for the second one. This one, it was just, again, there were things in it I liked, but it was just a mess. It was just a mess, a complete and total mess. And you could see things coming a mile away. It's like, gee, they can renounce wishes. Gee, I wonder if she's going to have to renounce her wish. And even when she was losing her powers and they hadn't told us yet, you could tell, oh, her thing is she's losing her powers. Oh, look at that. She's losing her powers. Nothing really surprised me in this. None of it. Nothing surprised me. And then at the end, when they forgive the bad guy, he gets to go home to his son. And I love you, my son, even though I almost just annihilated the Earth. And he seemed, and his character had a great backstory too, because I thought Pedro Pascal did a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
I felt like the performances were wasted on a crappy plot. I think that was the biggest downfall, because again, you have this world that, I'm sorry, it's still shared with the other heroes and everything, okay? Because they're going to bring them together again, right? You just know they will. When they start hitting some successes, they're going to bring some of them together again. Okay, you think that those characters weren't going to remember any of this? Bruce Wayne would have been around. Gee, I wonder what he would have wished for. Mommy, daddy, come back, and then they get taken away from him again? Okay, and here's the thing that really irked me. Okay, we're talking near the final scene here, or not the final scene. I mean, like the big epic scene where everything's going to shit. With her controlling him or showing him the truth or whatever, right? Okay, how many people are in the world? Do you really think every single one of them would have renounced their wish? Hell no. Hell no. You can't tell me every single person renounced their wish and the world was back to normal and everyone just forgot about it. No, it's ridiculous to think that everyone would have said. And again, I'll use Bruce Wayne as an example. Dude deals with darkness all the time. What are you going to take from him other than his parents? Okay. Right? He would have said, I wish my parents were here. His parents would have walked in the door. What are you going to take from him? Alfred? That probably would have been it, right? But he might have made that sacrifice for his parents. He may not. The whole plot ruined it. Again, there was some really good performances in it, and in the plot, the ridiculously stupid plot, and every plot hole is what ruined it for me, I think. But and you can't just say, well, they might address that in part. They weren't planning a part 3. And of course they would have if it would have been, and it was successful technically, because a lot of people got HBO, to watch it. But I it took me forever to get it to work on HBO. Which, by the way, if you have HBO Max and you've been trying to get it to work on Microsoft's, what is it, Edge, that took over for Explorer, I think it's called Edge, you cannot play Wonder Woman on Edge. For some reason.
I can't play HBO Max, period.
Yeah?
It does not. It buffers and buffers and buffers and buffers on here. And the app, it's still basically broken.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the content that they have and the shit don't always work. And most of it, what's weird is the further away I get from like my Wi-Fi signal, which is not far.
Yeah.
it won't maintain. It can't. So I can only watch HBO right here where I'm sitting without it being a problem. And even then, it's not great.
Yeah. Well, on Christmas, my kids went to go spend time with their mother, and that's another story I'm not going to share here. Not something I really don't want to get into right now. But I'm like, okay, they've left, and I can watch Wonder Woman. So I was like, I don't feel like setting everything up downstairs where I have my big TV and everything. I'm just gonna watch it on my laptop upstairs. Why not? Just sit on my couch, watch on a laptop. And it would not play. And it still, as of yesterday, would not play on Edge. I ended up having to download it, like dump a bunch of stuff off my phone and download it on the app on my phone to watch it. Okay. And that was an adventure. But here's the crazy thing, though. I could play any other movie on Edge on HBO Go or HBO Max. Any other movie. Because while I was waiting for it to download onto my phone, I watched Die Hard because, Christmas. So I finally messed with it at work, and it opened and it played. And I'm like, oh, I'm not using Edge. I'm using Firefox at work. Right? So it works on Firefox. On my phone, after I had downloaded it and got rid of it, I just tried it and it worked just on my phone. That's a Google product. So I'm like, I wonder if it'll work on Chrome. It works just fine on Chrome. So it's just a weird thing, but I don't know if it's on purpose, but it will not play on Edge, but it will play on Firefox and Google just fine. Now, when I was watching, it was crazy. I thought I had overloaded my data on my phone, even though I had downloaded it, because during the third act, during the Cheetah and Wonder Woman fight near the satellite dish, all of a sudden a message pops up on my phone that's like, you might be in danger of using too much data. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm using my Wi-Fi here, right? So I even had to stop, go check my mobile data, and it was fine. It was just HBO popping up a thing on there. I'm like, what is going on here? It's been a weird experience having this so far. And at least as of yesterday when I checked, things have been pretty smooth for me with HBO Max. But just getting Wonder Woman to work was an adventure. I'm like, because the whole time I'm like, am I gonna have to download this on my phone like any new movie every time? Am I gonna have, when whatever Godzilla comes out or the Suicide Squad or whatever, or Dune if it actually gets to come out? That's a whole nother story. Am I gonna have to download it on my phone every time? Because if so, that's gonna suck. But thankfully it works everywhere else, and I figured things out to where, okay, I can make it work here using this, I can make it work here using that. So I think part of the problem is Edge. And then I don't know. It's just been a weird experience, and hopefully they'll work out the bugs. With this, and I think Wonder Woman, in a way, was kind of like their test run to see if they could handle this 2021 plan of theirs. I don't know. I don't know if that's fact or not, but it feels like it.
Yeah, I don't know. See, like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from what you experienced. Well, I was just shocked that when it came out, when it officially dropped and everybody could watch it, that it didn't crash. Yeah. We watched it at 11 o'clock or whatever, like Raina in the chat here, she started at the same time as I did at noon her time, 11 my time. And other than a couple of seconds at the beginning that were a little, that hadn't gotten up to like higher quality, like 1080p or Ultra HD or 4K, it ran smooth. Like I couldn't believe it because I figured at 11 or whenever it dropped, there had to be millions of people that hit play.
Yeah.
So I got to give it up to that at least initial viewing for myself anyway, that it was pretty perfect. But they've got a lot of work to do, and I feel like they've had enough time to get it fixed. Because I feel like a year ago, HBO Max wasn't out, right? It was
about summertime.
Yeah,
year, wasn't it?
It came out because we were talking about. I remember we were dealing with DC Universe stuff, like or whatever that was called. Is it still a thing?
DC, you mean the DC Universe app? Yeah, it's now just comics. It's like, I think I do believe they took the shows off of there, and if they haven't, they're getting ready to. I believe it's already happened. I dumped it a while ago, and because I saw the writing on the wall. Whenever they started moving stuff over to HBO Max, I'm like, okay, yeah, this thing's dying. I'm not re-upping this because as much as I love comics, I'm not going to pay for the comic service. And yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm eventually going to have to do an HBO Max. And then when I did the 6-month deal that they had whenever they announced it right before Christmas. They were just like, yeah, we have a 6-month deal. I'm like, I guess I'll be doing that just to, so I don't have to worry about paying for it for 6 months. Yeah, the DC Universe thing, I saw it dying way before it did. And thankfully they had started making those announcements because I would have re-upped for another year and I got a discount the first time. I think I only paid like $50 some, and it would have been like what 79 or something like that. And it's like I know I'm not going to use it. I got hit with something like that not too long ago. I buy a streaming service called DAZN every year because they had a certain company's MMA on there, and then I think they've stopped. So it's like, oh, good. My re-up comes here pretty soon. So I got the most out of it, but I don't want to re-up and then they don't have it. I mean, look, I like boxing, but I can't watch boxing all the time. And that's what they are mostly is boxing. So I don't want to get caught with another service I'm not going to use and pay $100 for the year, you know. So I got lucky with DC Universe. So again, it'd be a cool service. I mean, they had a crap ton of comics on there, and there for a while, even though I own them, they had like all of whenever they had the TV stuff, they had like all of Batman the animated series and a bunch of the movies, and there was stuff on there that you like couldn't find to rent if you didn't have it. But they've moved most of that stuff over to HBO Max now, and I know they're supposed to be getting Batman the animated series on there if they haven't already. I know it's soon if it hasn't happened. I read some article maybe sometime in January they're getting Batman the animated series on Max. So I mean, yeah, I saw that end come and I jumped ship the second I heard that. It's like, yeah, I can see what's going on here.
Well, apparently they didn't really see what was going on there because they had the time with DC Universe's app to try to figure out, you know, how to make an app better.
Mm-hmm.
And here they just did. All they ended up doing was move the stuff from a okay working app to a hardly working app.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I mean, I you know, the announcement was great, and it honestly does pay for itself as long as you get at least one high quality movie, let's say a month.
Mm-hmm.
It pays for itself. Because that's another thing I talked about at the Wonder Woman 84 review was just financially, is it worth getting HBO for? And it's like, yeah, when you factor in how much you got to pay for a theater ticket and all the people that you go with, it pays for itself every single movie.
Yeah.
If the app works, you know, but did you get a chance to see Soul?
I haven't. That's one for this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to see it.
I
really wanted to, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch. You know, being that as soon as we end here, I'm going to be getting ready for work. So I'll probably just go and get my work done and just watch it at work. That's probably what's going to happen. That, and I think Cobra Kai season 3 comes out today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so I might be watching that first because I'm really excited for that. I love that show.
I still haven't finished the first season.
Oh man, it's so good. I love it. But yeah, Soul. I'm literally looking forward to it. And you know, if you would have told me that people were going to be praising Soul, which of course everything that Disney Plus has been releasing, you know, to Disney Plus that they didn't want to release in theaters, minus Hamilton, because Hamilton was really good. But they, you know, if you would have told me Soul would have been the movie everyone's talking about that came out on Christmas and not Wonder Woman, I'd have called you crazy until after seeing Wonder Woman. I never expected it to be good, but I'm hearing good things about it. I don't really want to know anything, but I'm hearing good things about it. I'm looking forward to seeing it because it always had me curious. But I just figured that Wonder Woman would be the movie that everyone's talking about. Maybe they still are. They're just not talking about it in the way Warner Brothers wants people to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I won't say really anything revealing about Soul other than I liked a lot of its ideas that they put in here as far as the plot and the imagination that they used for this plot and for the story. But it felt like a movie that could have been, it felt like a short that was turned into an hour 40.
I can see that.
I feel like a lot of this, like you said, like some of the logic problems in Wonder Woman, or certain things could have just been fixed real easy. I feel like a lot of the things in Soul could have been fixed real easy with a certain kind of conversation or certain lines of dialogue that it makes the it's one of those movies that makes the character have to make all the worst, all the opposite decisions that you would make. That's what I'll say about it. But I still thought its heart was in the right place, and it's got a lot of great ideas, and the animation's really good too. As far as Wonder Woman goes, though, man, I guess like I'm weird. This is weird because I should have like all the same. Like I hear everything you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I actually agree with about 95% of it, but for some reason, I'm just like I was not like I know the plot. It's a mess. I know this movie's a mess. But at the same time, I love that. I loved the mess. I don't,
and that's okay.
I'm finding it's strange because I'm hearing all these people that I respect have the opposite reaction, which is fine. It's just like what everybody else doesn't like about it is what I like about it. I don't. It's really. I'm not usually on that side of things. Usually, I'm with the crowd on this kind of thing. Because for me, Wonder Woman was like reading a comic book, like a let's say
I get that. I totally get that.
Like a 3-issue arc, or maybe 6 issues. Where just like I realized like so much of what happens in a comic isn't action. For a lot of comics, it's a lot of talking, a lot of character, and I could see where Jeff Johns' influence in the script was, as far as like character and dialogue and things like that, and that action, like in a lot of comics, is few and far between. And so I really enjoyed that aspect, even though I do think the movie is too long. I think
it's like 2.5, right?
It's like, and yeah, that's like another thing is like it's almost like being standard to make your superhero movie like 2.5 hours when you don't have 2.5 hours of story.
Yeah.
So I thought it was too long. All the things like logic. I even say it. I think in my review, I'm pretty sure I was like, yeah, there's some logic problems that I just forgive. I don't know why I'm giving Wonder Woman 84 so much of a pass, other than just like I really was enjoying them embracing the comic bookiness of it. And people will go, well, there's nothing happening? And I'm like, yeah, well, you clearly don't read comic books.
Yeah, see, the lack of action, especially around the first, didn't bother me. Yeah. I was with the movie until that car chase scene. That's when it really started to lose me. Because of all the ridiculousness in the plot. Because I was fine with all the setup, and I mean, again, I thought the quantum leap thing was kind of weird, and I just didn't understand why it had to be that way.
Oh yeah.
But no, I was really with the movie until the car chase scene, and then it started to drag, and then it just started to nothing made sense. I did enjoy the White House fight or whatever. I thought that was cool. Watching, Cheetah start to emerge and things like that. And, there were things to enjoy. Again, I liked a lot of the characters. But yeah, it definitely was way too long. And one thing that really gets me too is I wish Warner Brothers would get it out of their head that not every movie has to be about the end of the world.
Yeah.
Because a movie like Justice League should be about the end of the world. Okay. A Superman movie, that makes sense to be about the end of the world, right? Even though Man of Steel, I mean, I guess technically it was because they had those machines or whatever. I'm trying to remember the plot of Man of Steel. It's been a long time since I watched it, but like when they really started to bother me, Warner Brothers really started to bother me with their movies when Suicide Squad of all movies had to be about the end of the world, right? It's like, come on, you can have more simplified stories. You can have, go to outer space, and that opens up your, it opens up your universe, right? So you're not always having to, well, the Earth's being threatened. The Earth's being threatened. Hey, do you know the plot of this movie is the Earth's being threatened? They do it just about every movie. Even Aquaman, if you really think about it, all that stuff going on in the ocean would probably destroy the Earth. Especially when he comes crashing to the ground with that, whatever that big creature was. I can't remember what it was called, the one he had to get the trident from. Yeah, that thing's going to make a few earthquakes and tsunamis, right? I just wish they would have more. Maybe that's why I'm excited for the Batman, is because it's a street level superhero movie, right? There's not going to be world-ending, a world-ending plot in that. There better not be. Movies like Justice League or we can, even on the Marvel side, the Avengers movies, those should be world-threatening, okay? Even in the case of the Avengers universe, threatening. But not every movie has to be about the end of the world, okay? Because again, people are, if you're, especially if you're connecting all these movies, everyone's going to remember that. Okay, you can't. There's only so many times you can wreck the world, and I hate that they pretty much wrecked the world in Wonder Woman 84. And again, look, comic book movie. If you enjoyed it, I'm cool with it. I don't think people should, if they like it, I can't go, well, you're stupid. If you enjoyed it, that's cool. But every time they wreck the world in these movies, it's the world is fine the next day, it seems, and it just bothers me. One thing I appreciated about the Harley Quinn cartoon is at the end of the first season they wrecked Gotham, right? So what's the second season? Wrecked Gotham. That made sense. Whereas in Wonder Woman 84, the world almost is destroyed. Hell, the world is almost being destroyed before the final act. You see all the weird stuff happening, right? And that's another thing about wishes. What if wishes counteract each other? How does that work? And also to talk about how they could have easily killed Wonder Woman. The one guy says to his wife in there, "I wish you were dead," and she starts dying. Would have been as easy as that. But anyway, but yeah.
You're not wrong about.
Yeah, and look, and again, I really like
being a little harsh on it, but I don't think it's.
And
but you're not wrong. That's the thing.
Though. I'm not totally dismissing the movie, because what I liked. Yeah. As cheesy, as stupid and cheesy as the invisible jet scene was. Okay, I was like, cool, the invisible jet. Yeah. I was fine with it. Because it's like, well, I made a coffee cup disappear once. Now I can make an entire jet. And I'm sorry, I think radar would still be. It's not like they disappeared. They're invisible. I think radar still would have picked them up. But anyway, that was another kind of dumb thing.
Yeah, Raina's pointing out that it's Happy New Year on the East Coast.
Yeah,
so yay, 2021 for the East Coasters.
Yeah, well, the world hasn't ended yet, so I was expecting the world to end, but it would have happened in Australia first.
Yeah, so, yeah, that makes sense.
Because that would have been a perfect ending to 2020. But yeah, man, look, I enjoyed a lot of Wonder Woman, and it's hard to recommend, for me. But again, I enjoyed a lot of it too. But once the stuff just started piling up for me, and I'm just like, my enjoyment, and again, and the length played into that too, because 2.5 hours, this could have been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
easy. There was a lot you could have cut out of that, and but no, they had to get a world-ending plot set up. I mean, having Max Lord travel all over and grant everybody's wishes.
I so loved Pedro Pascal though in that movie.
He was good.
He was so great. He was so great. Oh my God.
Yeah, I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed him.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about some of the good things. I mean, I thought that like you said, you started to mention. I loved his backstory. I loved feeling like at first he was just an average corporate sleazeball in a movie. I'm like, oh, he's just playing one of these guys. And then when you realize what his life is really like, that's when oh man, they're actually allowing what I liked about his villain character was he was a loser. He was a big nothing, big fat zero trying to make something happen. I loved that aspect of it. I loved how the powers affected him as the movie went on.
Yeah.
I loved the physical toll that it looked like it was taking on him. And as much as I agree they should have shown the punishment, I loved the fact that the villain was able to be talked down from the madness. Everybody's go-to, it's just always just kill the bad guy. Just kill the bad guy, end everything. I did like that aspect of keeping, like all the, like finding death would have been like the last resort.
No, I agree.
And I really thought that was an interesting choice. And also, I know this is just me being me right now, but like, good Lord, Gal Gadot or Gadot, however you want to pronounce her last name, she's gotten better. She's better now in this than she was, I think, in the first movie. I like her a lot more in this than I did in the first Wonder Woman. And even when she's like crying and her makeup's all runny and she's supposed to look like crap, could this woman look any more beautiful? Literally, there's scenes where she's supposed to look bad. I mean, and not like they were trying to make her look pretty on top of like, we're going to make you look pretty like the way a pretty person looks upset. No, she really looked upset and she still looked gorgeous. And it looked like it was natural. Like it didn't look like they tried to like pretty her up for the sad scenes. Yeah. And oh my gosh. Like I finally actually saw her as Wonder Woman for the first real, like fully accepted it in this movie. Because I'd still been a big backer of Gina Carano being Wonder Woman for a long time.
She was a good one too, I think. I tell you what though, when they made the first Wonder Woman movie, see Gina Carano, I mean, she's decent on screen now. Because she's been in, I mean, ever since maybe Deadpool, she's been doing better at acting. Yeah. But what was that movie? Was it called Haywire that she was in?
I love it though.
Look, in that movie, the action scene, that hotel fight scene is awesome. But she hadn't been acting very long then, and you could tell.
Oh yeah, you could tell.
But no, she's gotten a lot better. Gal Gadot, she, I've liked her for a while. I am really curious. Excuse me. I am really curious to see her take on Cleopatra. That's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really curious how that's going to go. I wouldn't say I've been a huge fan of hers, but no, I thought she's been pretty good as Wonder Woman. She was in some comedy too. I can't remember what it's called. Where she was.
Is that the one with John Hamm?
Which I thought she was funny in that. I mean, you got to really see her personality in that. So I thought she did good in that. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's you got to see their personalities come out. When you get to see someone's humor, you get to see a lot of their personality. So Keeping Up with the Joneses, that was it. But so I've been all right with her for a while. But yeah, it would have been cool to see Gina Carano as Wonder Woman. It would have been a curious thing. I'm not sure who else I might have put in there. I'm sure there's a few people I could think of if I really gave it a lot of thought. I've liked her for a while, and I thought she did really good in this too. And yeah, I didn't have a problem with her not being Wonder Woman a ton in this. I don't need wall-to-wall action. That's like what the big bring them all together movies are for. is like the big action scenes. And this one had a lot of character development. Again, I think if they would have tightened up the plot, cut down the runtime, fixed the plot holes. I mean, not just tried to cover them up, like Illinois road workers are only allowed to do to our roads whenever they get potholes in them. I don't blame the I don't blame the workers. I blame Illinois. I mean, if they were allowed to do more, instead of just patching it up, really rework that script. I think it would have been. I think I would have liked the movie a lot more because, again, especially the performances. I didn't like forgiving the bad guy, but talking him down I was fine with, because I felt like you have this character. Well, Pedro Pascal's character Max Lord is mentally damaged, from the beginning. Because later, of course, you find out that he had an abusive childhood and everything else whenever he's kind of revealing his truth. That whole scene about revealing your truth at the beginning, I wish they would have cut that. It was a great scene and I liked it, but boy, did it not give away the ending, because it totally gave away the ending for me. Yeah. I'm like, the ending's going to have something to do with her putting that lasso around somebody. That I knew it was coming, and it happened.
I had kind of forgotten, but at that point, because of how long the movie was, I had forgotten it until, you know what I mean? It's one of those things you go, huh? And then I forgot about thinking that, and like 2 hours later, when it happened, I went, oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like that, but see, his character is mentally damaged. So I felt like he came out of that mental damage a little too easy. It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I just wrecked the world, but that's okay. I love my son. That's just, it felt too easy for me. I would have rather have shown Pedro Pascal's character in prison and his son visiting, right? That would have made more sense to me. I love that scene with them. Pedro Pascal's a hell of an actor. I mean, he convinced me of a lot of things. He was convincing me of things behind a damn helmet in the last couple of years, right? So he's really good. But having him, being able to find someone to take him in a helicopter all the way back to his son so he could have the run to my son scene, it just didn't make sense to me to leave it that open. Even if you would have shown cop cars rolling up behind him or something, right? That would have made more sense. Yeah. It would have helped. But no, it's like, oh, we're just letting this guy go. I do get tired of, I don't always want bad guys to die. In fact, I don't want bad guys to die a lot of times, because that way they can come back. That's why the first couple Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies made me angry. Oh, we killed off Green Goblin. Oh, we killed off Doc Ock. It's just,
I don't think they understand the time. I guess timetables and things like that. Like, are we really going to circle back around or blah blah blah? But you keep them alive just in case you want to. You can always recast. Things like that. I just don't think that they really understood what they were doing back then, and I still think that they need to work on that aspect of keeping your villains alive. I mean, at least in shows and in animation, they've done that a lot better. They've been more willing to keep villains alive because they, but
I mean,
learn a little bit more because I'll tell you for me that first time I felt that I was like so irate over, and it was like my favorite thing. But that there's that one part of it that I fucking hated, and that was Jack Nicholson falling at the end of Batman. I felt like like as much as I love that movie, as much as at that time I loved that movie. Every time I watched that part, I would get pissed.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even really been that big of a comic book guy yet. And I knew you don't kill the Joker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and they did the same thing with Penguin in the next one,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they kind of teased Catwoman was still out there,
Yeah.
and it would have been neat to see a third Keaton Batman movie to see if they continued that. I mean, we kind of technically get it now, I guess, with Flashpoint, but that's not the same. I mean, that's just Keaton playing Batman again. Is it that universe's Batman? Really, we don't know. Or are they just bringing Keaton back because it's cool to have Keaton as old man Batman? I don't know. But
that just makes me see. We started already talking about this, and I already just want to spin out into rabbit holes and just say, just make the Dark Knight Returns movie with Keaton as Batman.
Yeah. Well, I would have been cool with Keaton playing the Batman Beyond.
I was just
Batman. That's where I'd want to see it go. I've seen they already have an amazing cartoon for Dark Knight Returns and everything. I don't think they need to. I don't want to see him touch that again.
Well, we didn't think
they kind of did. They kind of did for Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and every other thing we can cram in the hair movie.
That being said, though, I never expected Disney to make a bunch of live action versions of their cartoons.
Right. Well, see, that was just it. No one, like when they made Spider-Man, Sony, when they made Spider-Man, I think they were planning on doing 4 or 5. But after 3, no one liked 3. I mean, I know there's some that do, and there's things about 3 I do like, even though it's a mess of a movie too. No one was planning what Disney did, with Marvel. Heck, even when I don't even think they had that scope, really plan that scope of what they did whenever Disney kind of took over, right? Because you had what was it, Iron Man and Hulk. They're produced by somebody else. It wasn't Disney. It was
Universal.
Universal. I knew
Universal.
it was Universal.
Universal was Hulk. Paramount was Thor.
Right. So they didn't. I don't think they really had that kind of a plan. I mean, I think they planned on connecting a few of them and doing just a cool little. Okay, now we've got Cap. Now we got Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and they were just going to bring those guys together. I don't think they were planning, well, we're having a 10-year anniversary and doing, 2 of the biggest movies ever of all time and having 5,000 heroes in it. I don't think they planned that. Did it happen? Yes. Was it awesome? Yes. But I don't think no one really had that plan. And of course they didn't have that kind of a plan when they were making like Spider-Man, like when Sony was making the Spider-Man movies. I think they were going to eventually do like a Sinister Six or something, maybe. Like that would have been the big blow off for them, was like Spider-Man versus Sinister Six, which I would have been cool with that. Like as much as I love Spider-Man, the MCU, if they would have been able to build up to like a Sinister Six, that would have been a big epic movie for me, because it's a city-based hero dealing with a big city problem, right? That would have been cool for me. Again, that goes back to the whole, I'm tired of seeing the world in danger. That's why I enjoy a lot of street heroes, just because I like smaller stories. I like to see, things more grounded. That's why movies like Civil War worked, or not Civil War. Well, it worked, I guess you could say it too, but like Winter Soldier, I meant to say, is because it was a personal movie about these few characters. And while you had like cities in danger during that, like with the helicarriers and everything, and that could have been a world problem, they kept it contained. It wasn't, oh, there's another nuke going off, or there's a belly dancer with magical powers that can destroy the entire world that the Suicide Squad has to stop. They just, again, I'm going off on my, trying to jump back up on trying to jump on my soapbox again.
I first want to mention really quick, Daniel Vasquez in the chat. We haven't mentioned you. Yeah, the theater's closing. Get ready for more of that. And sorry to hear about the losses in your family, man. That's terrible. 4 people and not COVID related. That's crazy. But seeing as how we were talking about Pedro Pascal and something that you hadn't talked about, let's move to another Pedro Pascal thing you haven't talked about. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do the Mandalorian this year. I'm kind of off episodic reviews. I'm as of right now I'm kind of off reviews, but the Mandalorian. Ask away. What do you want to know?
I mean, okay, you clearly watched it. Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to have gotten you on to the Fandalorians, man. See, everybody that watches this, whether they're on the like they hated it or they loved it, it feels like more people love it than hated it. I don't know how I feel overall about season 2 yet, but I know that last episode, as much as we were so off about what we were predicting was going to happen. Because I just never thought in a million years, like it just didn't enter my mind that they'd do it, because it just was too on the nose what everybody would want.
Yeah.
And they had been proving that they weren't just giving you what you wanted. They were taking you in directions and hinting and teasing at things, but never really giving you full answers or giving you a full, like, holy crap. I mean, they would give us little nuggets of nostalgia here and there, and a mention of a battle here, a place that you recognize there, But then that final episode comes, and it was one of the best episodes of television. And I don't mean that lightly either. Like, as far as what I've wanted since 1983, this is one of the most important episodes, because it is giving people something that they never had never had. They did it on a television show and somehow made it's just when people talk about TV episodes, this one's going to be high up there on the list of things. I don't know how you feel about the episode. I personally find it to be one of the best things I've ever seen. Not just from as a nerd. I don't know how we top this as a television event, because, and I don't mean like Red Wedding, Game of Thrones kind of thing. Just like, I'll always remember where I was when Luke Skywalker showed up on The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I said it in my review. I don't care about the CGI. I just don't care about it. I care that Mark Hamill got to be Luke Skywalker. He didn't just get to be Luke Skywalker. He got to be the Luke Skywalker we always wanted to see and never got to see. And he just comes in. They didn't overdo it. I think it was a very smart move that he didn't talk much. I think it was just a definite, like, I need to get this child. I'm going to let you guys go. You go your way, I go mine. I thought it was very succinct. And that when the door closes, I got goosebumps, because I was just like, oh my God, that is like dropping the mic on a season. So I just want to hear what you think of that event or that whole episode, because I mean, that whole episode to me was great. I mean, I loved that Giancarlo Esposito's Gideon had that look of confidence through the entire episode. Like, I don't care what you guys all think. I don't care how bad it looks for me. I've already won. You guys you just don't know what you're like. He's that guy. Like he said, assume I know everything. And And then to see that look of absolute terror on the man who had it all in his palm of his hands, and he was actually scared. He was, and it could have been cheesy or overacted. You get a guy like him, and all of a sudden you really feel like the only thing in this world that could scare Moff Gideon is a veteran, is a seasoned Jedi walking up onto his ship and destroying all his plans. Okay, I'm done talking.
Okay. We all have a plan until the Jedi shows up. Giancarlo Esposito is one of the most underappreciated yet appreciated actors ever. I have liked him since Homicide: Life on the Street. I was excited when he showed up in The Usual Suspects. And just I've been following his career for a long time. I love that guy. Whenever he popped up in the first season, I was just like, oh yeah, I know I love this show now. So yes, watching someone, he's the type of actor that no matter what he's in, even if it's crap, he can convince you of his role. Yes, his confidence was, I loved his confidence. I loved that he had a plan. I loved that he knew the history of the Darksaber to know that if he lost it to the Mandalorian, if he lost it to Mando, that would be a problem for the good guys, right? So that's why he went after the kid instead of sticking around, to lose it, elsewhere. Because you knew when he walked in that room and Mando has the Darksaber, just the look on his face is like, yeah, I got these bitches. I got them right where I want them, right? But yes, watching the smile on his face turn to, oh shit, whenever he sees the X-Wing pop up and he sees, Luke tearing down his troopers, and knowing that suicide is the only way out. Because at first he's like, oh, you left me alive. Interesting, and then it goes, yeah, I got to die whenever he sees Luke show up. So, yeah, that is a great moment. Everyone was curious on whether or not they were going to recast Luke. There was the whole Sebastian Stan thing. Everyone wanting him. Go ahead. Yeah.
Everybody keeps talking about this Sebastian Stan thing, and I guess I live under a rock about certain things because I don't know what anyone is talking about.
All right. All it is there were some artists out there that gave him the Luke hair and everything, right? The Luke hairdo. And they do look a lot alike when you do that. That's what it was. And he's a good actor, so he could pull it off. If they were to say need a young Luke, like say for a whole movie or something, right? I would rather them have Luke show up in like a cartoon or something, and then just have Mark Hamill voice it, right? I think it'd be the best thing you could do. Because imagine if The Mandalorian were a cartoon, how much you could use Luke then. But the CG with Luke, we've come a long way since Rogue One, which I love Rogue One, but the Uncanny Valley moment with Tarkin I wanted them, when they showed Tarkin, I was like, oh crap, they're going to do Tarkin, because I'm watching this, an early screening of Rogue One when it happens, right? And that was one where they confiscated our phones and everything else because how, you don't want these secrets like Tarkin being in the movie getting out. And so I thought they were just going to show like his reflection in the window of the starship, and that was it. But no, then he turns around and he has full dialogue and he's walking around people, and it didn't look the greatest. It looked good, but it looked fake. With Luke, there were a couple times where like he was talking, because they still really haven't gotten mouths right yet. It's hard. I mean, mouths make all sorts of different moves, and they shake, and the muscles stretch, and everything else. When you say you're doing something like Thanos, right? It's a creature. It's an alien. So of course you're not going to really notice imperfections in the speaking and everything. But this is a human being, and you're going to notice that stuff. So there were little things that bother me. technology wise about Luke. But other than that, the moment itself, man, the moment itself was, I'm not gonna lie, I teared up when I saw the Jedi walk in. I'm like, that's a black hood. And then when they showed it up close and you see the black glove, you're just like, oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker. I mean, that Lucasfilm or whoever douchebag that made fun of, what was it, Star Wars Theory, for showing emotion, for crying because we finally got the Luke Skywalker we wanted. You know what? I blubbered like a little baby when that happened because I'm like, holy shit, it's Luke Skywalker, right? And yeah, of course you're gonna have to use CG for that moment. As much as you could say, de-age Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel, you couldn't do that to Mark Hamill. You just couldn't do that much for him to be standing there, right? Forgive me. You were going to have to go the CG route. And I think keeping the hood up the whole time made it better. Yes, having him reveal his face. When it stood still, it looked great. I mean, you could tell, yes, of course, it's CG because we're looking at young Mark Hamill, but it looked really good, and I was buying into it because I was buying into the emotion of the scene. You had Mark Hamill's voice. I mean, it was all there. I don't want to see like a whole show of it, right? Unless the whole show looks like his CG, that is fine. I would be cool with that. But don't try to tack him in again like this. You may have to, because we don't know where Grogu's story is going to go. Is Mando going to have to go rescue him? How long does he stay with Luke? I mean, there's just so many questions. Is Grogu there when Kylo Ren goes nuts? We don't know. I mean, there's too many questions there. I think he's going to end up with Mando again after, say, a season or two. I think we're going to have a couple seasons without baby Yoda. But because we're going to have to deal with the Mandalorian stuff, going with them and everything. But yeah, that moment was really good. And it made that episode. That episode was already really good. Him showing up was amazing. Having R2 pop up was great. Because that just added more to Luke is here. It's like, oh yeah, of course R2's here. Of course he would be the one in the X-Wing, right? And then it seemed like Grogu and R2 had a connection. So I have a theory about Grogu. I think, everyone's wondering who rescued him, from the Purge of the Jedi. I think it's going to be dealt with in the Bad Batch. I think they're going to be the ones that rescued him from the temple for Yoda. I think Yoda's going to say, save anyone you can. And that's going to be the only one that they're going to be able to save. I think they're going to be. Now, how he ends up with the Empire, I don't know. How long he's been with the Empire, I don't know what happens to him over those decades, before the Mandalorian, I don't know. But I think that's what the Bad Batch show is going to deal with, is they're going to be the ones that rescue him. And R2, he's going to, the R2's going to be there somewhere. Could have something to do with it too. I don't know. There's lots of theories.
Oh yeah, we've come up with quite a few of our own over on the Fandalorians.
Yeah,
where we talked about this. Our initial what we had kind of agreed on is kind of a more people agreed with this than not. We thought it was going to go an Empire ending, where they don't get the kid, that things do not work out, that people die. There was the big prediction that they brought Boba Fett back to kill him off so that Mando would have a new ship. There was all sorts of things we were floating around over there. And the Grogu thing, I don't know. I was thinking about this when you were talking about having Luke in again. I was thinking, what if they had two stories going on? One being the Mandalorian, Din, or is that his name?
Din Djarin, yeah.
Din Djarin. Um, Dealing with the stuff with Bo-Katan and the Dark Saber and Moff Gideon. And what if they intercut that with what Luke is doing with Grogu? And that way they could kind of, because they're both just, one's a puppet, one CG, maybe if it's just showing their training, like the opposite, like Luke teaching Yoda
Yeah.
the Force, if they intercut that, and then you could have more freedom to not care about what else is going on around them, because if it's just those two characters, then it's not distracting really as much.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna show any more of him for a while.
Yeah.
I honestly think they're going to. That's going to be a big reveal, maybe in season 4 or at the end of season 3. Where I have this feeling that season 3 is going to be the Empire moment for the Mandalorian. I think that at the end of the next season, things are not going to go well for them. I could see them losing. Whatever, trying to take back over Mandalore or whatever. I could see them losing. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I think people had Grogu overload the last couple seasons. I think they need a bit of a break. Or honestly, again, I wouldn't mind seeing another show with Luke and Grogu if they did it in animated form. I'd be okay with that. One issue I had with season 2 was even though I loved every bit of it, it felt too much like a setup season for other shows, because it was. You set up 2 other shows at least in this. I mean, of course, I love the idea of the Boba Fett show. I love that after credit scene or whatever. Seeing what's his name sitting on Jabba's throne, and Boba Fett coming in like, no, this is my seat, bitch. Seeing that, and then of course the Ahsoka Tano stuff. I would have liked to had her more in this season, but I understood what they were doing. Of course, they were setting up her own show. You don't get Rosario Dawson and not give her own show as that character, so I'm not surprised there. Of course, I loved every bit of her being that character and everything, and I love that she's getting her own show, and I love, of course, that's going to kind of continue the Rebel stuff, because, of course, there's way too much left open from Rebels. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get Captain Rex. I would have loved to have seen. I'm not going to try to mispronounce his name. The dude that plays Boba Fett. I would have loved to have seen play both, and I think they still will. I think he's going to show up in the Ahsoka show, so I'm probably still going to get that. I just wanted to see it for both, right? I wanted to see it both in this season. I think that would have been a cool thing. But people
it's
make
hard not being greedy once they start giving you some of these things where you're just like, nah, 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 nah.
Well, and this season did do a whole lot of name dropping and everything, and it felt a little out of place, but you wanted to hear those names. So it's like, because you hear Ahsoka making threats, and she's looking for this, and of course that leads to that, and there's a lot there to like. I don't want to see them do another setup season. They can't. I gave them this because they set up 2 shows. That's more than enough. And there's supposed to be like a Rogue Squadron starting 2, and I think that's supposed to be linked to the Mandalorian too, but I'm not positive on that. I don't know. I haven't read much on it.
I think it's because the guy from the one guy that kept showing up is going to be on the show. The guy from Kim's Convenience or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
It's interesting that we live in a time when I'm gonna be like, there's gonna be all these Star Wars shows, and I'm gonna be like, I don't need to watch that one about Star Wars. About Star Wars being just like,
Look, if they, when Disney Plus came out and they said we're going to finish off the Clone Wars the way it should have been finished off, and they did, and it was awesome. And they set up the Bad Batch, which I love the Bad Batch, and I'm happy they're doing something with them. They had them in that season too much not to give them their own show. I knew they were going to finally announce one. If they keep giving us the good stuff they're giving us on Disney Plus and don't overdo it, that'll be fine. I think they've announced enough shows. I don't want to see them overloaded. It's like, oh, we've got the Mandalorian. Let's give them 20 more shows. No, I don't want to see that. But, you're continuing characters we know already, and you're continuing characters that we want to see what happened to them. Rebels, as great as that show is, it's still one of my favorite things they've ever done. That had too many questions at the end, and now I'm glad they're addressing them. Do I want to see them start 17 new franchises? Here's this one's 2,000 years before. This one's 1,000 years. No, as much as I want to, I'll be like, look, give me one from the past, okay? One from way before, like 1,000 years before. That's all I want from before. I wanted them to expand on what we know, and in the universe we know. It doesn't have to be connected to the people we know, like the Mandalorian's doing, where yes, it did finally connect to some, but really it's kind of its own thing with little bits and pieces here and there of the universe we know. That's what I want to see Star Wars doing, what Mandalorian's doing. It's like, okay, we're world building on the stuff that people love, but also giving them something pretty original. And I love that they're connecting it to the Clone Wars. I love that they're connecting it to Rebels. That's some of the best stuff that they've done. And I want to see more of that. And I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. So I'm excited. And I will say, last thing I'll say about this season, can we appreciate how good Bill Burr is? That episode with him, Bill Burr, you mostly know as the funny guy. And I've loved Bill Burr for a long time. That whole thing with him, I knew what he was going to do, but just the whole moment up to it was fantastic. When it happened, it was fantastic. And just the whole thing, if he doesn't come back at some point, I'll be disappointed. I loved his character from the first time we saw him, and what he did in the episode that he did where he was helping them. Loved every bit of it. And just, I love the fact that they built on his character of having, why did he quit the Empire? And then we found out why. And then him getting him giving the Empire their comeuppance was pretty great. And he's really great in that episode. He's one of my favorite parts of the whole season, him in that episode, because I knew what he was going to do. I knew he was going to ruin the mission, right? But you wanted him to anyway. So because of, you just knew he was going to get pushed over the edge. And I thought he was really good. So all in all, season 2, I really dug it. I could have used, if they would have tried to push more, we're setting up new shows, I probably would have thought that was a bit of overload. I thought they had just enough setting up new shows. I don't want to see him do it in the next season, though. It needs to focus on Din Djarin's story, helping the Mandalorians, dealing with, well, apparently he's now the leader of the Mandalorians because he has a saber, and all that. I am curious how they're going to deal with the whole thing of, okay, you had Sabine Wren hand, their name escapes me, the queen or princess or whatever. I'm drawing a blank. I'm tired. She handed her the Darksaber in Rebels, but Din Djarin can't hand her the Darksaber in this. They have to address that. Maybe when she handed it to her the first time in Rebels, maybe we'll find out that because she handed it to her, she wasn't the rightful ruler. And then, they found out, well, I have to win it in combat or whatever. And maybe that's how Giancarlo Esposito got it in the first place, maybe, yeah. I don't know. they need to address it, because if they don't, that's a huge plot hole. But I think they have a plan for it. I mean, David Filoni and Jon Favreau seem to be able to be a few steps ahead of us when it comes to things, and that's a good thing. Especially David Filoni, man. That man's been rocking it since the Clone Wars. I mean, he's the successor to the universe, I think. So I think they've got a plan for that, and they're gonna address that in the next season. I just know people are like, well, you didn't address that. It's like, well, we had to have Luke. We're not going to address that after Luke. So I really hope that kind of plays into, God, I almost said the Mandalore, the Mandalorian lore in the next season, where she'll be like, well, it was handed to me once, but that's against the law, and I wasn't the rightful ruler, and then I lost in combat, and I lost the saber to him. Things like that. It could be something like that, and I'll be like, all right, you got me there. You took care of it. You plugged that plot hole, and I hope they deal with that too. So, I liked season 2 a lot. If you couldn't tell already.
Right? No, I see everybody. Again, I feel like every once in a while I'm on the weird side of the fence on something. And I had to watch the Bill Burr episode 3 times. So I've actually seen it 3 more on top of what I watched. I've seen it 4 times because he was the only part about it that I couldn't get there.
Really?
I love his comedy. I think he's an all right actor. But he's one of those people that shows up for me, and I don't see a guy in the Star Wars universe. I see Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
I see his character in this. I just see Bill Burr. And it's in it's in how he just is.
Yeah.
It is Bill Burr. And then, so it took like 4 tries, but I finally got there, I think, where I had to hear him give that speech in the mess hall a bunch of times before I could finally get to where you were. Yeah. Because especially when he's brought up, oh God, he said TPS reports.
Oh yeah. He definitely,
you ad-libbed. Why did you just ad-lib that?
It made me laugh.
I know it. The thing is like I laughed too, but at the same time, that internal Star Wars brain goes, "I don't have TBS reports in fucking Star Wars." So it took a long time. But I love Bill Burr. I do want to see him come back, but it did take me a while because and that's the other thing is the season 1 episode that he was in. As much as I love Clancy Brown and other things, that was like my least favorite episode because it just felt like I wasn't watching the same show anymore because I was watching a bunch of people that I recognized from other things and it was taking me out of it. But yeah, season 2 I thought was pretty great. I think it's better than the first season. Because they learned what they learned how to do better. They did a lot better. And we didn't have even though some people will say that a lot of the episodes kind of have the same thing going on all the time. It's how they subvert those ideas, how they change the cliche, how they work with the cliches. It didn't have an episode that I looked at and went, I didn't like that much. The one that from season 1 that stands out that I liked the least was the one where they had to save the village. And even though I loved the idea of these bandits having an AT-AT and keeping these people could just come and take what they wanted whenever they wanted, I felt like, and that was Gina Carano's introduction, I think, to the show, and I felt like that one just fell flat for me. And season 2 didn't have anything like that. And whenever we would go on Mandalorians on an episode that was just like the one with the ended with the spiders coming out of the ice and stuff. There's not really that much to that episode.
Yeah.
We ended up talking for like an hour and a half. We went way long, like just talking about that. We, like I don't think I could have talked that much about any of the season 1 episodes as much as we did here. Now, when we talk, we're getting closer. We got about 14 minutes left. 13 and some change. I'm trying to think of things that because I haven't like talked to you too much. I'm not going to push you into telling stuff that's uncomfortable or anything.
Well, you can ask. I'll just be like,
No.
I'll hit the
kind of going back, I guess, all the way around to just this year and everything. And I mean, it was like a year ago, right around now, we were doing the 1,000 subscriber live stream, and like just to think of how far everything, how different all of our lives are. Over, I don't think I've ever had a year that's gonna like leave. Like a lot of years just kind of leave me. And you look back and you go, oh, was that 2016? Or, oh, was that 2009? Was it? Oh, I don't think I'm going to forget 2020 like I have other years. Because this year taught me that, and I'm going to get probably a little more serious than I need to, but I did not realize how many of the 72 million idiots I am surrounded by on a daily basis. They've been coming out of the woodwork, and one of the I've been trying to think about the best and the worst of the year, and like what was the best thing of this and what was the best thing of that, and it's really hard. Like I don't know like how you're gonna do your usual like best of the year thing, like when there's like. It's so all over the place.
Yeah.
Like are you gonna put Trolls World Tour in best in categories because there's not much else to choose from?
Well, I've been given thought to that, and it's probably not going to be. It's probably I'm just gonna okay. I'm probably not going to do nominees because say I have like superhero movies. There's not 5 of them. There's like 2 or 3 that if I could think real hard, and not much to choose from. I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought, but I mean, I've probably seen more movies than most because, I was still being sent screeners and things. I probably saw a lot of movies I may not even had a chance to see because whenever our theaters were open, of course they weren't releasing blockbusters, but they were releasing some stuff that probably never would have made it to the theater just to get something out there. I got to see something like The Kid Detective, which I recommend to everybody. It's not for everybody, but it's one of the better movies this year. And I probably never would have got a chance to see it until it showed up on, say, a Netflix or something. So I got a chance to see stuff like that. So I've got enough to pick from to pick, best, worst, whatever. I already know what the worst is. I'm not revealing it here. It was so easy. And no, it wasn't Wonder Woman 84. If you've watched my reviews, you probably already know what it is. But I've got probably enough to pick. Some, but am I going to have every category? Probably not. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. It's not going to be. I usually do a big production, but I'm not doing it this year. It's I'm going to put the effort that that everyone put into 2020 into my review. So. Or into my my best of. So, dude, you're going to be going back a while if you think you're going to find it like that.
Oh, yeah?
I got too many things in there for you to find, what.
I'm just trying to think of I'm just trying to rack my own brain from this year of what would have been your worst.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I keep a list of what everything I've seen. I haven't filled it out for months. I'm gonna have to go through the what got released this year list just to finish filling it out, and then I have to start breaking it down. Thankfully, I'm not breaking it down in categories this year. Or in nominees this year. So anyway, we found the needle in the haystack, everybody. Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
But there was definitely for worst, it was a clear-cut winner. For best and favorite, I'd still have to think about it because best and favorite can always be two different things. Hey, it's D from D's Reviews.
Hey, Gina, how you doing, man?
How you doing,
Rob?
man?
Happy almost New Year. I was
Hey,
checking my clock like, I've got to jump in before the year ends.
Or the world ends.
The world, I know, seriously. What's going to happen? Actually, I just keep thinking of that meme that's like 11:59 and 11:60. Because like, what?
That is how this would go. It'd be like 2020. Be like, you think I'm done with you yet?
That's right. Welcome to January 32nd. December 32nd. Sorry. It's already warped my brain.
Well, welcome, man. We've just been talking about Mandalorian season 2 and Wonder Woman 84 and other stuff.
Yeah, I caught your review.
Desiree in the chat, his Chadwick's last movie. I'm trying to remember what that was called, because I know what you're talking about. I have not seen his last movie.
Yeah, it's like
yeah. Ma Granges.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to watch it yet. It's on the list, but there's also a lot of other movies on the list. If you've ever seen my my Netflix queue, it's pretty bad. What I haven't watched yet.
I don't even think I can add anything to my Netflix queue without kicking something else off first.
Yeah.
Now, my Netflix queue has basically been the list of movies I've never gotten to, and that I'm always like, oh, yeah, I want to see that. I'm not in the mood right now. Let's go find something else.
Yeah.
It's perpetually what I've wanted to watch for like the past 2 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it gets to that point. It's like, okay, I want to see that. Okay, put it there. I want to see that. Okay, put it there. 2 years later, didn't I have that movie on there? Netflix took it off. That's just usually how it goes. It's like, didn't I have that there?
Well, and now you get to watch it as it jumps from one streaming channel to the other. It's like, it's off Netflix. Oh, it's over on HBO Max now. Okay, that's good. Okay, now it's off. Oh, it's over on Amazon. All right. And then there's Vudu, which keeps popping up places. I'm like, what is that? I don't have that.
Vudu is mostly rentals, but they do have free movies on there with ads. I've been wanting to do something with Vudu where I want to pick a random movie from the movies that have ads and just watch it, and I don't care what it is, whether it's something I've seen or something I haven't. But as of the other 5,000 ideas I haven't been able to start it yet, because this year and every other year.
Vudu is how I was watching and reviewing Crime Story. I had to watch. I had to watch it with ads, but it was on Prime and then disappeared and showed up on Vudu for free. So if you want to watch, that show, that's where you can find it. I think it's still there.
That was a classic.
Yeah, I need to get back to reviewing that in 2021. That's a resolution for you, is start getting back to some of the old stuff I was reviewing. Because, Dennis Farina's Crime Story, man. Oh, my gosh. So many people were on that show. It was ridiculous.
Well, that's the fun thing about whenever I watched. I've watched it like 2 or 3 times now, like within my lifetime. Homicide: Life on the Street. and then of course the crossover episodes with Law and Order. You'd be surprised how many people that even became characters later on the show, were in the show early. Like J.K. Simmons, he was like the psychiatrist through like Law and Order. He played a serial killer on both shows, like on the crossover episodes. It's like, wait, wasn't he the serial killer back from whatever, and now he's a psychiatrist? That's kind of weird. Even like popular characters, you would see them show up earlier in the show, and then they'd show up later playing other characters. And yeah, Homicide: Life on the Street, if you ever get a chance to sit through that one, you have to take yourself back to the 90s, of course, of this is how the world worked then, to watch it. But fantastic show. Unfortunately, it's not. Peacock may have it, I guess, now, since NBC has their own streaming service. But I that's one of those shows I bought the whole series. I needed money and got rid of it, and then just not too long ago, I'm like, I want that series again. I'm buying it. So I did it again. So great show.
The episode with Robin Williams. Oh man,
yeah,
that is such a good episode.
Yeah. Well, he showed up on that was on Law and Order, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, that was Homicide.
They crossed over so much, it's hard to keep track. He ended up showing up a few times on that show. He wasn't just on like the 1 or 2 episode arc. He come back later, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I watched it all, but yeah, he was fantastic on that show, because that was even way before he was doing a lot of serious stuff, and he was great on that.
Yeah,
right,
that was. I think it was his, oh wow, yeah, we got less than 2 minutes. I think it was his connection to the creator of the show, Barry. It's oh gosh, the guy who did Toys.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh man, it's right there.
Oh no, actually, I've been trying to pick movies all night, and I've been not coming up with blanks. So yeah, I'm dead this evening on these names.
Barry, is it Barry?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, and that'd take too long, and I'm too tired, and I got to be at work in 3 hours.
Yeah, so we got less than 2 minutes before the new year. Here.
Sorry,
I swear it's gonna be one of those names that I look up and I'll know the answer right before I type in like the last thing.
Well, they say you shouldn't wait till the last minute. Well, this is the last minute.
This is great. I get to peer into the future. I get to see what 2021 is like. Well, still stuck in 2020.
Somebody, yes, yeah, I'm on my phone. That's pretty 92. It was from 92, and it was directed by come on, Barry Levinson. It was a Barry.
There it is. That's 2020 in a nutshell. We can't remember anything. Our memories are going.
Yeah,
life is terrible.
What? What's going on? Oh man! So hey, everybody, 2020 is about to be officially over for us here in it is.
There's my clock turnover. Do we get to throw up the
everything just turned over here? 2020 is officially gone. It has been sent to the bad place to hang out with Adam Scott.
Do we get to throw up a celebratory old middle finger?
Yeah, do that for 21. For all acquaintance before
clock has stopped. And now the clock has started at 21.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say,
as soon as I wake up and see my Twitter feed and see what horrible thing happened in the course of the next 6 hours.
Oh yeah, we've been away from the world for 2 hours. It could be fire and brimstone outside, and we don't even know it.
Yeah. Well, luckily I've got another 2 hours before the death wave, which is about to hit you guys, slams past and heads towards us. What is that, like the Langoliers?
Yeah.
Wasn't that it, where the time ends and then they just come to eat up rest of 2020?
All this left.
I will be disappointed if they show up and they're not shitty CGI.
Oh, I know that was so disappointing. I'm like, okay, crappy Pac-Man. That's what you came up with. That was the in your head. It read so much more interesting and fascinating, and that was just.
That makes me think of the CBS All Access version of The Stand. I know Brad Jones has been he reviewed the first part of it. I haven't watched it because I haven't watched the show. I'm curious to see if they've done a better job than the original miniseries. I actually really dug the original miniseries of The Stand. I thought that Gary Sinise and Rob Lowe, I thought a lot of the acting in the original Stand was good. And for what they could accomplish with a TV budget was pretty amazing. And I actually read The Stand, and that book is long. And I'm trying to think of what CBS All Access could actually do to make that better. I know some people don't like the ABC version of The Stand, but
it did get a little cheesy, but it had the best opening with Don't Fear the Reaper playing as you see the Captain Trips bodies and it zooms all the way through. I mean, still that like just made that song for me for so long.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've seen that miniseries. I think I watched it when it came out with my mom. I don't remember what year that was. And I don't think I've seen it since. So I don't remember. The only thing I remember is Patrick Starr going MOON moon. That's about the only thing I remember. So I can't remember too much about it. But I remember thinking it was okay. But then again, I was a snot-nosed little brat too when that came out. I think what year did that come out?
That had to be it's the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would have been, I mean, not too little. I probably would have understood it at the time, but I don't remember a ton about it. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since.
MOON. What spells Nebraska?
It was the first big. I mean, I think it was before that. The TV adaptation of it was before that, and then The Stand was after, where they were like, "Okay, man, let's see if we can capture this again." And it had some. It had some good moments, but again, it was stuck in what a TV story could tell, and how intense and you could get away with it network at the time.
Yeah.
May 8th of 1994. I actually thought it was earlier than 94.
I did
that's
too.
Surprising. But my time now, that's making me put time in perspective, and that's freaking me out.
Welcome to 2021, mother.
It was directed by Mick Garris, who's actually was a pretty well-known director back then. Because I know that the new one has Alexander Skarsgård and Whoopi Goldberg. And none of that's like, I like Alexander Skarsgård just fine, but I don't know. I actually like what you were saying. Like they set up the Dr. Trips. You had Ed Harris was in there in the beginning, just in that kind of throwaway role as the guy who was having to say, the center did not hold. You've got Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis, all these like old actors that have now passed. Ray Winston, I think, the guy from My Favorite Martian. You had Jamie Sheridan. Jamie Sheridan is the walking dude. He was scary. Jamie Sheridan to me has never really been a scary actor, but he was scary as the walking dude. And then you had Matt Frewer as Trash Can Man. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my God, my life for you. Oh my gosh, so when I saw them advertising this, I just went, I'm not watching this. But some part of me wants to see it just to. I don't hate watching things, but I do want to see what it's like. But I don't want to get CBS All Access.
No. You should still be able to get a trial month.
Oh, yeah.
You get it,
Right.
yeah. Or with anything, I
I
think this is the way that streaming is going to work. You're going to go in, you watch that. If you feel like Discovery or any of that Star Trek stuff, you can check all that stuff out. End of the month, you cancel it, and then you wait another year until the next season comes out.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for Picard to be done. Whenever they finish the whole thing, that's when I'm getting my freebie, I think.
Yeah,
because I want to see that show, but I don't want to pay for it. I don't need another streaming service.
Yeah, and if they earn your business after that, then great, they've done something to do that. Otherwise, no, that's going to be the new way streaming is going to be, because we can't all subscribe to 50 different things, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that we'll want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And they all want to sell you just for a month.
I've been waiting for just Blu-rays for some of this stuff to come out, for things that I know that I'll like, and that I've heard good word of mouth about, I've just been waiting for those things to come out, because I can't do it anymore. I feel like it's almost like we're going to end up in the same spot with like everything being in one big melting pot, where it's like, oh, this is sponsored by, this is made by Netflix, but you'd be watching everything on one big giant service that just shoots you over there. And this gets paid, you watch this, Netflix gets paid. You watch this, HBO Max gets paid, or some form of that, because it just feels like we're going to end up back where we started with, where it's, because they've been driving us there anyway. We're basically paying for cable again. So,
yeah, ultimately it's collapsing to the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you have the choice now. You're not, okay, I get cable and I'm forced to, half the stuff I'm paying for is crap I'll never watch. Now, yes, on the streaming services, they're always going to have stuff you're never going to watch. But okay, I got this streaming service for Game of Thrones. I got this streaming service for the Star Wars stuff. I mean, you're getting to at least specialize what you're paying for per month. And if you don't want it for that month, well, okay, they don't have that show I want for this month. I'm going to drop it for these next few months. Something like Disney Plus, I didn't mind signing up for 3 years because I knew there was going to be plenty of Star Wars. There was going to be plenty of Marvel. And then, of course, there's lots of stuff on there for my kids. So, I mean, that was an easy buy. Something like HBO, yeah, I want to see all the stuff they have. But if I've seen, granted now they've had this 2021 deal where all the movies are coming out, of course I'm probably going to have it for a year. But say they didn't do that, I was going to get it for a couple months anyway, just to see like the Snyder cut. And then it's like, well, in that month, I'm going to try to watch everything I've wanted to watch on HBO and then get rid of it. I mean, so we at least have that choice instead of getting locked into a cable deal for a year where you have to sign a contract and they can keep changing the price and taking away things from you. I remember when I started, here's all of us showing our ages, guys. When I got, you get basic cable for $15 and you get 40 channels, of course, 25 you don't watch, but you get 40 channels. And then all of a sudden you're paying $40 and you're getting 15 channels and they're telling you, oh, we don't take away things from you. That's when I dropped cable. So they don't have that control over you anymore. If you don't want it, you don't have to pay for it. And that's, at least we have that choice now. Yes, it's going to be everyone and their mom has a streaming service, but if you don't want it, don't pay for it. I mean, it's just how it works. And there's going to be plenty of times where I go, well, I'm not watching anything on this. It's gone. That's going to happen. And at least we have that kind of control now. It could get out of control where they start merging and things like that. But, that's for a few years down the road. But right now, at least we have somewhat of a choice. And then things like Amazon Prime, where you can subscribe to different channels for like $5 a month. That's not bad. Like my son's like the PBS stuff. They get every PBS show that ever existed, every PBS kid show that ever existed for $5 a month. Instead of buying DVDs of every single show, that's a pretty darn good deal whenever I can, pay the yearly fee for Amazon Prime and just tack on $5 a month. Not bad at all. And I'll stick with that versus cable any day of the week.
Yeah. I actually find I watch a lot of less kind of like crap filler shows now that I have streaming, because I don't have to like record it or wait for a week, or that it's on when I want it. Then it's like, great. When I want to watch something, I watch it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go do something else. So oddly, I find more time on my hands than when I just had cable before, which was a really unexpected result. Figured I'd be streaming for like days.
I can't just figure out if we're just ramping up, even like the binge. Is binging still reaching a peak? Because I'm hearing people that I never would have thought would ever be like heavy bingers and against like weekly shows than I have lately. I feel like 2020 really got a lot of people's attention spans to be even worse than they were last year.
I think
I'm more like, I know I'm not alone in the whole I'm done with binging. I don't review binge shows most of the time. And it's not because we're getting old or anything like that. But it's just I feel like it has to be reaching some sort of peak. But I don't think we'll know it until we get back to normal.
I think binging has reached a peak. I mean, think about it. We get to this year, productions get shut down. They have to stretch out shows. They have to release stuff that they probably never would have released. I mean, did anyone else suffer through the floor as lava? So I think they had to reach a peak. And I mean, think about The Boys on a streaming service that is a binge service like Amazon, and they released weekly episodes. They had to stretch it out. And I think we reached a point where not everything's going to be bingeable. I don't think Netflix will ever drop that model because they became like the model that did it, right? They were the binge streaming service. They'll never drop it, but I think you're going to see more and more Amazon shows do it. Disney Plus isn't releasing all their shows at once. So we definitely, I think, hit a peak. I don't think binging's ever going to go away. Again, with Netflix, as long as Netflix is in business, you're never going to have binging go away. Now, if they somehow, some way crash and burn, binging may go away someday, but you're always going to have a streaming service that has binging shows. And I think Amazon isn't going to drop that model totally for a while. But I think they saw a lot of success with The Boys this last season of The Boys, because I think a lot of people were willing to wait for another episode because it's so damn good. Now, if it's a show that's not very good, people would just rather binge it and get it over with. But if something's good enough to wait for, like The Mandalorian, like The Boys, I'm sure hopefully some of these Marvel shows will be worth waiting weekly for. I think we're finding a happy medium right now, because not everyone can sit for, watch a whole 13-hour season on Netflix a day. But some people would rather go week by week. Some people would rather just watch it on their own time. Some people hate to wait. I mean, there's so many different ways that people want to watch shows now. I think we're going to finally find that happy medium eventually. Because I'd rather, there's some shows I don't mind waiting for. There's some I'd rather just get them over with. There's some I can wait until it's over and just watch the whole thing. And then there's some I anticipate throughout each week. So, I mean, I can see it finding a happy medium somewhere instead of it has to be one way or it has to be another. I think having the option is good, though, because, again, some people hated waiting. I mean, how long is a season of shows? At one point they were like 24 episodes a season.
Yeah.
You really want to watch a show for half a year? I don't. I mean, but then again, some people do, and that's cool.
Well, I think that'll probably push the quality level too, as they'll know it's the premium shows, your Game of Thrones, your Boys, your I mean, Netflix isn't going to do it with Stranger Things, but anything on the kind of like higher level that's going to draw, they want to draw that viewership out for weeks and weeks and make sure you hold on to that subscription.
Yep.
Then there'll be other shows where they're like, oh no, dump it. Or if it's not getting responded well enough, like, I don't know, we'll say, for example, the Raised with Wolves, at the end, they may just be like, nah, no one's stopping it. Dump the rest of the series. Let's people watch it, and we'll fill in that space with something else. You know, they'll find a balance. I think, like you said, with that, and it'll be the quality, the difference.
I also think. Yeah, I think you're going to see even like the regular networks probably start shortening seasons of stuff that are even that are people that something that people watch now. I think they'll be like, well, why make 24 episodes when we can make like 13 really good ones,
right?
And then always have stuff, and then like times like the summer don't have to be just filled with game shows and reality shows. You could actually have programming going on in these times where you usually don't have programming, or you could use those spots to kind of dump the more bingeable stuff on network.
Right.
Yeah,
instead of summer rewind season, it's summer binge season.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, we're talking about the weekly stuff being probably more prevalent on streaming services for brand new stuff, and then just having older things to binge or stuff that they don't really believe in to dump. Yeah, that's definitely a way I see them going.
Well, gentlemen, I just want to stick in. I got to jump in and hang with the family for a little bit as we start approaching our New Year's. I know that you guys passed this, so I wanted to be sure to wish you all Happy New Year. Everyone in the chat, Rena, Devra, Bill Casey, everyone who's been chatting there, Daniel Vasquez, just subscribing. Thank you. Thanks for letting me hang out with you for a little bit for New Year's, and I'm glad to see that so far 2021 is looking okay.
Well, get ready to run from the flames, man. Get ready to
run. All right, I'll gas up the truck. Excellent. All right, you guys, Happy New Year. Thanks so much. Later, and I will catch you later on. Bye-bye.
All right, man. That's actually kind of like where I was headed anyway. We're 20 minutes past the hour, and I know maybe you could get another hour or so of sleep. I don't know.
No, it's probably shower and straight to work because I haven't looked outside and I don't know if there's a snowstorm out there right now. So I didn't want to look.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you get snow?
They were talking that it might happen, but I have not looked outside and since probably noon today. Okay. I didn't want to look. So I got to go find out if I got a shovel. I think I would have noticed if it happened, but it's probably just really cold out there. And hopefully, as usual, the weather people were wrong.
Well, it snowed here and then changed to sleet, and it just hasn't warmed up. It's not a lot of snow, really. It's maybe an inch or so. But like the ice is worse than that. Yeah. Otherwise, we're all right. I mean, but.
Well, I'm lucky. I work like 2 minutes away from my job. So, yeah, I got to drive slow. But oh no, my 2 minute drive, if I don't get stopped by the red light, my 2 minute drive turns to 10. Oh no,
But I want to thank everybody that came here and listened to us just kind of kill some time before the end of 2020. And I really want to thank Dee for popping in at the last second, but especially Gino. You came in here, and I haven't talked to you. You haven't gotten to talk to everybody here, and this was a perfect time to do it, as everything ended. I don't know how to feel about the new year yet. I'm still reeling from the old one. And but there's nothing but possibilities here, and as much as nothing has actually changed as of right now, there is, waking up tomorrow, it does bring up new possibilities. Now Gino's gonna have to work and then go to bed, and then there'll be new possibilities. but well, actually, no, there's new possibilities without going to bed. But
yeah, there's breakfast.
And yeah, the rest
is good. Maybe if breakfast is good, maybe 2021 will be a good year. That's why I think if I get off work and breakfast is good, things are looking up until the next day, of course.
Yeah, we need to get everybody safe. We need to get everybody vaccinated. We need to get rid of this COVID thing, and we've already gotten rid of one. We've almost gotten rid of one disease. And at the end of this month, one tumor will be excised from our bodies. And more than that, there'll be several other smaller tumors that came with that big tumor that will also be getting cut off our bodies permanently, hopefully, on January 20th. So there's, we are getting rid of that one disease, but then we got to get rid of the one that then we got to get rid of COVID. And so everybody stay safe out there. I don't have to tell you guys. I feel like anybody, my chat, we're taking care of ourselves. We're a powerful group together. We watch each other's backs. So it's everybody else out there that watches this in the archives. Be safe out there. Wear your mask. Take this stuff seriously so we can make 2021 a better year than 2020. And that's just for that, that's just for that stuff. Everything else, I go on vacation next week. So this is just like the beginning. I only have to work. I work Saturday and then I'm off till the 11th. So there's going to be a lot of content probably on the channel. Or I've been thinking about making a bunch of content and not releasing it. I'm just doling it out so I have some stuff ready to go. Do a whole bunch of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. so that I can catch up on that. But Gino, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
I really, really appreciate you making the time because I know it's late or early or however you want to see it.
I don't know how days work anymore.
No, I don't know.
I haven't for years.
I am so out of it time-wise. I kept thinking it was Saturday all day long. All day long. It has to be Saturday because I was off yesterday. And if I was off yesterday, it was Friday. And so tomorrow is Sunday, except it's not. It's actually tomorrow's going to be Friday. And it actually is Friday right now. See, I had 2 weeks in a row where I have 3 days off. I have 3 days off last week. I have 3 days off this week, and then I'm off for a week. So I was already going into the holiday screwed up.
Yeah.
Now I'm real screwed up. So I don't know what's going on with anything you want to announce for your channel or anything.
I don't know what's going on either. We'll leave it at that.
I just realized, I was like, what am I doing on the channel now that Vandalorians is done? His Dark Materials is done. What else was I doing? The holiday reviews are done. So it's like, what am I doing besides Agent Carter right now? So I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna take it easy for a minute, I think. And I am thinking though that I want to do the one idea I have for movies to review this month is bad president movies. I think this is a good month to review movies where there's an awful president. And then,
didn't we just have to suffer through that movie for
or just movies with presidents in it, I've never seen I'm ashamed to admit that I've never seen The American President with Michael Douglas. Never saw it. But maybe this month we will. I don't know, but we're going to wing it. So you're wrong. It's Thursday. It's Thursday in California. Where I'm at, it's Friday. Two of my coworkers got to be quarantined, so I magically have extra hours. Yay! You get more money, but you got to be at work. Isn't that just the way it goes? Vampire Lincoln movie. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Woo! Speaking of vampires movies, though, I got to talk to you one of these days, Gino, about a movie I want to review with you.
What's that?
It's called Near Dark.
Near Dark. That name sounds familiar, but I don't.
Yeah, it's a movie that I had been on the tip of my tongue. I finally tracked it down. I finally got a copy on eBay, and because it's hard to find, and it's Catherine Bigelow's movie. That's got Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, Adrian Pasdar. It's vampires, and the quality of it, of what I got, it's horrible. It looks. I mean, it's not a good quality DVD. The Blu-rays, if you look it up, the Blu-rays are like can be like $150. Just trying to find this movie is hard. I still haven't watched it because I've been actually waiting to talk to you about it. I'm like, hey man, I was actually gonna try to send you a copy of the movie to see if you wanted to do a review together for it one of these days. So just keep that on your mind. We could probably be talking about this off the live stream, off the broadcast, but it's late. It's 12:27 and time means nothing. So
this year is boring.
FDR fights Nazi werewolves. That's right. There is that one.
FDR, American badass.
Oh, that's right. I did hear about that. I have seen the trailer for it too. We should check it out. Yeah. See, now we got a theme for this month. I don't know if I'll be able to stick to it, but we'll take a look and we'll talk about it tomorrow when after some of us have gotten some sleep. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. Bill, Desiree, Daniel, Devra, D for showing up, Silver Surfer, EB, I think, was in here at one point, way back. I think one of the first people to talk was EB in here. So yeah, everybody, if I missed anybody, if I missed anyone, you can take it out on me later or hold a grudge. I don't care. So anyway, thanks.
What a way to start 2021 with a grudge.
I'm already burning bridges, and we're only a half an hour into the first.
You're supposed to burn it behind you, not in front of you.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day. I will see some of you tomorrow on Twitch, and we'll see how it goes from there. Gino, of course. Thank you very much, sir. And I will see you on the flippity flop, everybody. Have a nice night. Bye. 2020. Bye.